most agents can handle 3 transactions a month on their own.
Right. No transaction coordinator, no assistant, no buyer agent. It's not just about the number. It's about the net life in general.
If you have standards and good clients, it doesn't take as much work.
Yes.
So I don't normally work with newer agents because a lot of what they need is training and skill set. And where a lot of agents run into trouble is they start doing what they need to do, and then they have 8 closings in a month, and then they have no closings the next month.
Yeah.
So 36 to Life was born around, let's have a consistent stream of business, ideally 24 listings, 12 of which are buyers. So we only have 24 clients instead of 36 clients. So the math there, if you work with one client on 2 deals, that math works better.
Yep.
So when we do that and you have a consistency of 3 deals a month, that you can end up doing on a part-time basis.
Yeah.
Literally 20 hours a week.
Yeah.
Because if you have standards and good clients, it doesn't take as much work.
Yes. So you mean not having clients that contact you 30 times a day?
Yeah, and you set that up, and I tell a client, hey, you don't want me at 8:00 at night on your biggest financial liability giving you feedback.
Yeah.
We want to be doing this on a fresh start, so we might have calls at 6:00 in the morning before you go to work.
Yeah. All right. Now let's handle an objection, because I can hear some agents, maybe agents in LA, going, I don't need to sell 36 homes a year. That's way too many. I sell 10 million in volume on one house. On the other end of the spectrum is folks that are in the Midwest, like where you and I are both from, where their average price point is $250 or something like that. And they're going like, hey, I'd love to sell 36 homes a year. I'm not there yet. Why that number? And what's the bigger principle behind it? Because it's not just about the number. It's about the net life in general.
Yeah, and I think 36 Life is just kind of the tagline that came along with it. And what we do with you is we figure out what your 36 to Life is.
Right.
Meaning I've got a coaching client newer to the business, and he does 12 deals a year. He has no mortgage. He has no debt. And 12 deals a year is his 36 to Life because he wants to have a life. He wants to be able to travel. And his clients know I take 1 listing a month. And what that does is when your clients know that you take 1 listing a month, they'll say, hey, we're looking at selling next July. Mark us in there.
Right. Well, that's phenomenal, having a waiting list of people. Okay. So the principle is you can make as much as you want and live the life that you want selling basically 3 homes a month. That will cover most of the country in terms of like the numbers working out. But tell me more about the make as much as you want part, because how do you go from selling 3 homes a month to making as much as you want, like building long-term wealth? Like, what are the other things you need to do?
Yeah, one of the things is we need to know your numbers. So what does it cost for you to live? What is the debt? Where do we have to attack? And sometimes what you have to do is you have to double down for a few years, get your debt knocked out so that you free yourself from those chains of burden. Once we get awareness around it, we figure out what that plan is, and you might have to go backwards in order to go forward. So for example, real estate, you can make a high income, but it's not recurring.
Right.
So you might have to spend 20% of your time selling real estate, free up that 80%. We're going to learn a new success code, which might be coaching. So you're going to spend 80% of your time in coaching to make 20% of the income. Yet here's where the magic comes in. When coaching clicks and you identify the 20% that makes 80%, now we're doing 20% of the real estate, 20% of the coaching, which is 40% of your time, yet you're making more money.
Yeah, making like 160% of what you used to.
Correct. And then we use that 60% to bring in another revenue stream. So we got a transactional revenue stream. We have a recurring revenue stream. Then maybe we go to a leveraged revenue stream.
Right.
Now with leveraged revenue streams, that cash flow may not be coming in for 2 or 3 years. So you've got to be able to hold your breath as far as how far
that's
you
where having a high income job like real estate helps.
100%.
Because you can float for the 2 or 3 years that other people can't hold on until that new thing starts to produce revenue. So we're talking about real estate investments. We're talking about maybe buying a small business, buying a brick and mortar where it's the building and the business in it like comes as a package, like all that kind of stuff.
Or, I mean, if you look, the new trend in real estate is having revenue share models, whether it's EXP or Real and all the other copycats that are coming up. Yet that's another great opportunity for you to create some leveraged income.
Yep. All right. So make as much as you want, live the life that you want. Let's talk about living the life that you want, doing 3 transactions a month, basically. What does that mean? So you alluded to a little bit. You identify the 20% that produces 80% of the results. That frees up a whole bunch of time. You talked about the guy that paid down his debt. He's completely debt-free. What you didn't tell in that story that I know about the background of that is that now he travels a good chunk of the time.
Yeah, a lot of time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's literally, but people are attracted to that because, we say you shouldn't post your vacations. I believe you can't be neutral. He's like, hey, I do real estate because I'm really good at it, but I do it to fund my life. And people are attracted to the fact that, it's not just
as long as
real
you're
estate.
good at it. As long as you're good at it, you're trustworthy, you're credible, you can absolutely
Here's
get away
what
with
else he tells them. I don't have 60 clients. So when you need something, I'm available.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do 60 deals a year. I'm doing 12. So that allows me to be much more focused on you than the agent where you're just going through the puppy mill.
Yes. And you and I both know an agent who is essentially has a partnership. Like she's this one, unless she has another partner in it, but she travels all across the world and does her calls remotely.
Yeah.
And then just says like, hey, great. When you're ready to meet, my partner so-and-so will meet you at the home and we'll talk about listing your home. Period. End of story. She does all her calls from essentially the road, from hotel rooms, and she's traveling all across the world.
Yeah, and I ran into that towards the end when I was in full-time production. Was my highest value was an opening of a door.
Yeah.
And people were hiring me for my knowledge and my skill sets and my negotiating more than just the house. So near the end of the career, I'd have somebody else show the houses. The house that they wanted to buy, I may go and see if I hadn't already been through it because so many homes I had already been through, or a video walkthrough would tell me most of what I needed. And then I had the team where the home inspector was my right hand.
Yeah.
And I found that having me not at the home inspection, because naturally I would try to like smooth out problems, where I wanted them to have that time with the inspector where the inspector wasn't talking to me. He was focused on them. So there's a lot of things in our business where as we get trust and relationships, we can let ourselves out and it actually benefits the client. So for example, at the end, I wouldn't go to closings unless there was an absolute need because my job was done by the time we got to the closing. And if anything changed, the closing person was on my team, meaning I wasn't paying for her, but she knew if something came up, she was to stop the closing and reach out to me. And rather than go to the closing, I would spend that 2 hours doing lead generation.
Right.
But it came from an ounce of prevention where I'd say, hey, Matt, this is your 4th closing. How many times was the real estate agent at the closing actually a benefit versus a distraction?
Okay, that's a pretty good question for anybody that's sold, multiple homes.
Yeah, because usually the agent's sitting there yapping their mouth. They won't shut up. They're trying to be funny, and you're trying to read the documents. Here's what I'm going to do. If something comes up, I'm going to need to be at my desk and everything else. So I'm not going to be there. Let's just do the math. 36 deals. If I go to every closing, that's a minimum of 2 hours. Wouldn't that 72
hours.
That 72 hours be better served working and getting home sold than just sitting there looking pretty?
Yes.
I mean, I am arm candy, but
Sure.
again, having fun.
Okay, so let's wrap things up. So they're listening, watching, they're going, okay, that sounds attractive. I'd love to have more fun. I would love to only sell 3 homes a month and make what I want, live the life that I want. Sounds awesome. Okay, how do I find out if this is actually for me?
Here was my goal for this particular video was to have you gain awareness that I like what they're talking about here. Meaning we're giving you examples, and if what we're throwing down resonates with you, lean into us. That could be by booking a call. That could be watching the other videos. And we're giving a lot of this away for free. Information's become a commodity. So we're going to continue to do these videos. Now, information without implementation is just a waste of time.
Yeah.
So really, when you get to that spot where you're like, this is what I want as a 36 to life lifestyle, reach out and we'll figure out if there's an opportunity for you to get on the team. Because frankly, we don't get in destructive abundance either. My one-on-one schedule is typically full. So usually you got to get in the door through one of our other programs and earn your way onto the starting team, so to speak.
That's right.